Alright, what's going on, Dr. Hammer? Just finished watching Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. I thought it was I thought it was cute for sure. Like a, interesting take on like a end of the world type of movie, focusing on like relationships and like just a, hopeless romantic trying to find his partner for the end of the world. It definitely wasn't it did its job, kept me entertained for like 2 hours, but in terms of the message that it was sending off, I kind of get it, but at the same time I did have a little some qualms with it. Mainly my biggest issue is like everything was about like finding a romantic partner, and it seemed like that's what every character was focusing on, or just like outside of like the hedonistic kind of approach, or just like, let me have sex with everyone, let me do all these drugs, let me just pursue all this stuff. Let me find fulfillment in this kind of way. It's either you pursue that, or you pursue or you're like Dodge, where you're pursuing like true companionship, and you're just like bouncing for like looking for your lover, and then just the whole ending of like Dodge and Penny being like true lovers the whole time. I think it hits on just like humans' innate sense of like wanting companionship, and like constantly like us, pursuing just like intimacy of some kind, just like, sharing moments with people. But I just thought it's like, if it's in an end of the world scenario, just my first, I don't know, this is obviously personal, and this is just what my takes. I mean, I'm not going to feel like my life was marginalized because I didn't find like a companion or like someone to spend that with, or, and I think it's just like having Dodge, the character, like, who's unable to just like be happy with himself. That was sort of just like not troubling for me, but just like I just didn't think that this movie fully represents like what is accurate. I think it is a little like fairy tale ish. Going back to like the points that we talked about for the last movie we watched. It was The Big Sick. It's just like the Western ideal of like love conquers all. And I just think like that is a little bit of a tired kind of idea. It doesn't really explore the ideas of like finding fulfillment in yourself. And obviously like this is really nitpicky. Like my issues with the movie are really nitpicky. I think it does tell a story well. It was just like a interesting plot, like a new plot that I wouldn't have really, I haven't really seen before. But it's just, the way they go about it, just like, love conquers all. It's just like, it was pretty cliche. Didn't really present much of it, like much new information. But that's what I was saying. It's just everything came down to relationships, or like finding someone to be with, or finding someone to be with for the end of the world, which I don't think is necessarily the healthiest way to like think about your life. Your life is not just as, fulfilling. Like, you're finding fulfillment in life is not only as good as the companion that you find. I feel like that there could be like more of a personal side of that. And I was hoping that like at the end, when he put Penny on the plane, and I thought that was really cool, like a cute little thing, like having her be like super sleepy, and like having that thing at the beginning where she can sleep through anything, and then that making a comeback at the end where she can like literally sleep through a plane ride. I thought that was cool. But then like she wakes up and comes back to him. I was just like, that was disappointing. I thought the end was going to be like him finally finding fulfillment in himself, like maybe reflecting on his life, being like, what, I was dealt a bad hand in terms of like the relationship thing. He had like a 10-year relationship, and his wife was like cheating on him, all that stuff. He was like, I was hoping it would just end with him finding some fulfillment in himself and like dying happily through that, but it just went back to him with Penny and being like, okay, this was my true, this was my true love story, and this was all for a reason. It's like we don't necessarily have to think of life like that. It's like we can, if you can have fun and enjoy your life by yourself, enjoy time by yourself, then that like that should be, I feel like that's preferable like than having to constantly validate, your happiness with someone else. Um Maybe I'm just taking like uh not really pessimistic, but just like a different approach to this movie. Um I thought like, it was a okay movie. It sent a message that I just didn't necessarily agree with. Um but we'll see. See where the discussion goes. I still like, outside of those few issues, I thought it was fine. I just feel like if they had some representation of like some people who were, because obviously like it's okay to like seek companionship and like for that to be your like underlying desire, but if there were just representation of people who were like taking their last 2-3 weeks, like no 2-3 weeks of living to like do stuff like that they never, they wanted to do before, like um just like finding fulfillment in yourself versus just like trying all these drugs, trying to like hook up with however many people you can. um I would have appreciated that a little bit more. I would have thought this was like maybe a more realistic view on the world, and we're just focusing on this one character. I also thought the maid was like an interesting character, like why she just wanted to go about like normal life. Like every Tuesday she cleans the house and, not really addressing the whole end of the world thing. Um, I was wondering like what they were going for with that. And maybe like there's something I'm missing there too. But yeah, I think there's like a lot of good discussions that can come out from this movie, which at face value just seems like, any like a just hopeless romantic movie. But yeah, overall, thought it was pretty good, and looking forward to class.